Hi, I'm Sue.
And I'm Lisa.
We have been teaching for a very long time. Looking back, we realized that we didn't know what we didn't know about being educators. We are simply here to share our stories, and hopefully you'll laugh along with us. The names have been changed to protect the innocent and the guilty.
Love the guitar music.
Thanks, Lisa. That's my husband, Jim.
Yay.
He plays guitar.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. All right, well, welcome to episode 2. Wow, we didn't see that coming.
Woohoo! Episode 2. Yeah, today we are sharing stories where we thought we were knocking it out of the park. Everything was hunky-dory, whatever.
Hunky-dory.
And we were blindsided by that. Teaching, you're like, I'm so awesome, and then nope, you're not. And
it happens a lot.
And you know, we have a Facebook page. Please follow us on Facebook and post your stories, and we'll share them.
Yeah, if we have some good stories, like
you
so
teachers,
share them on there.
You teachers out there, you know who you are. You've got stories. So I don't know. Let's go back and forth and share these stories. I'm thinking of a time when not only did I know the content, but I also had my best practices, and I was doing my delivery. And I do want to apologize to one of our listeners who is following us, because this story is about you, honey. I'll change
All
your name.
All names have been changed.
Yeah. So let's just tell this quick story about.
We're gonna call her Mary.
We're gonna call her Mary. So I was teaching about the human body, not puberty. That's another time. And we were learning about the bones of the body. And we had to put together a skeleton puzzle. Yeah. Did you ever use that thing?
Well, I did for a little bit.
Yeah. And we had like those little brads, and you had to make a puzzle, and it was called Mr. Bones. Yeah. And of course, using the word bone in a 3rd grade class or 4th grade, whatever, bone, it can get you in trouble. So we just talk about, you have to have the spine put together correctly, and there's the femur, and there's your radius, and blah, blah, blah. And then I said, when you're done, go hang them back on the bulletin board. Share those. And all of a sudden, you know the sound. There were people, and they were like going, and they were laughing and hooting it up, and I thought I just taught the best lesson of my life. And I walked back there, I'm like, what's going on? Hey, you guys having too much fun here. This is school.
What's going on?
You can't have fun here. Okay, so apparently there was one of the Mr. Bones that had the femur.
Oh, no, the femur.
Dangling between the legs. Like a
2 little short legs.
2 little short legs. Well, one was kind of
feet.
a long, there were feet. Because I mean,
happened to the
who
other
messes
femur?
up the feet? I don't know. I don't think they used that other one. So really short legs and a femur. And that's enough. We're all sitting down. I thought I had knocked the lesson out of the park. So I was a little upset, and I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. So about an hour later, this really sweet girl named Mary, she's crying. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And she goes, oh, Mrs. S, can I talk to you in the hall? And of course, Mary, let's go in the hall. And she goes, I'm sorry, it really wasn't a naughty thing. I just thought it was, I thought it was it, I thought it was called a boner. And I'm like, oh, honey, but it's not a bone. I said it in my best. Oh, yeah, no.
You know that you burn in there.
So, yeah. So, what about you there, Lisa?
Oh,
man. Can you top that one? I'm sure there are people that...
there is a funny story. So, it was towards the end of the year, and the paper towel that they give us at school is...
Stupid.
It doesn't pick up anything.
It
pushes the water around.
Oh, I don't think it does.
So, we were going to really, we had a brand new building, and I'm like, we're going to really clean this room.
Oh, beautiful.
So, yeah. So, anyway... since we didn't have any paper towels, I have a bag of rags at home where I've cut up like, t-shirts, and I've cut up like little, pieces of, towel and stuff, and this big bag of rags.
But did they pass safety inspection?
Yeah.
You can't use
This is a bag of rags.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, we're going to use those to really clean up and stuff, and the kids are really excited, and I have this big, one of those shopping bags, for the grocery store, full with these rags. So I'm standing there, I'm like, okay guys, don't use the paper towel, we're going to use these rags, here's the spread. So I start just kind of throwing it out.
Yeah,
you're throwing them out.
You're
Kids
a cool
are walking
teacher.
by, and I'm just grabbing chunks and throwing them out to them. And I'm standing there, and I'm starting to clean up my desk, and the kids are all around. And all of a sudden this little boy comes up to my whore.
Who's the whore?
Oh my God!
No, it's horror.
Horror. To my horror.
Okay.
He is holding up a pair of my underwear,
a
pair of my big granny panties.
Oh, they weren't even Victoria's Secret?
No, they're just his granny panties. I don't know. But anyway, he's holding up my underwear, and he didn't just like kind of hold them crumpled up. No, he held them up on display like a big flag.
Smart kid.
Yeah. And so he's holding me and goes, Miss J, did you mean to throw me these?
Oh, come on. He could have been more discreet, like Mary.
I looked at him and I'm like, oh, and I just like, oh, and I just grabbed him out of his hands and I said, oh my gosh, they're my daughters.
No.
They must have got caught in there.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, as soon as I grabbed them, I held them in my hand. I shoved them in my pocket. I ran to a friend of mine's, and I'm like, "Look what I accidentally threw out to the kid." We were laughing so hard. We laughed so hard, I almost needed to go put them on.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
I know that's another.
Okay, I need a whole other layer. Anyway, so I came back to the room. I'm like, "Oh my gosh," and not one kid said anything. It was awesome. But anyway, I came home and I told my daughter this story. We're laughing. She goes, I am so mad that you told him those were my underwear.
I was just going to say, back up the truck.
I said, listen, which do you think would be more damaging to a kid's psyche? I was holding my teacher's underwear, or I'm holding a really,
they come home
16-year-old girls' underwear. Yeah. So it was just,
What'd you do in school today, honey? Well, I held my teacher's underwear. Okay.
That was
really wrong.
I did not see that coming.
No. Okay.
Now I know I have to just it must have static cling, they just stuck to some of them. It was kind of stuck.
I bet, you know what? I bet you washed them all.
Yeah, I did. I just pulled them on the dryer. And
how much junk we bring from home to school? Like the whole back seat. It's full. I'm like, oh, good, about rags. And because you had to bring your own cleaning supplies a lot of times.
Yeah. That was, I did not see that one coming.
Yeah. Well, and we like to keep our rooms really cool, right? And nice. I mean, so, the beginning of the year, and you're like, just making the room really awesome. And some people, they kind of, who you are. You're out Pinteresting everybody. Stop it. Teachers pay teachers. Blah. Okay. Well, anyway, I would always make the cutest little name tags, and I put them everywhere. Blockers. Where else? We put your name on the desk, like helpers and stuff. And it was the beginning of the year, and I just thought, look at my room. Look at this. It's gorgeous. And this little girl, I won't even say her name, Miss S, come here. I said, what? She goes, someone's writing Jesus everywhere. I'm like, what? And remember, where we live, we're very multicultural. No, not so much. We're single cultural. And the name was Jesus. So she was pretty upset that somebody was writing Jesus. She goes, they're writing Jesus in the lockers. There's even Jesus on the desk.
What kids say.
Yeah,
my gosh.
Something else?
One funny thing that happened one time is, remember the back when we had those, before we had document cameras and stuff.
Back in the day,
we had those darn, what were they called?
Overhead projectors.
Thank you. Woo, senior moment. So we had these overhead projectors.
They are useful.
Oh my gosh. And they had a cord. You had to kind of pull them down, down in between the kids and stuff like this.
Right.
Because you had to pull them, you had to keep pushing it forward or back depending on the document to zoom in. Because there was no zoom on it or anything like that.
It was like a little focus. But
so anyway, I don't usually have kids in rows, but they were kind of in a row there. And I was walking down the row, and my foot got caught in that stupid projector cord.
Makes you look cool.
Oh my gosh. And so I'm starting to fall. I've caught my foot and I'm falling.
Yeah.
And I have two choices. One is to fall flat on my face and just
It's a good choice.
The other one is in midair. You know how your brain slows down and everything gets, broken up so you can kind of so I'm seeing this slow motion. And I'm like, okay, and as I'm falling, I'm like, I could just twist a little bit and turn.
Okay.
And one of my students was sitting, little fifth grader, sitting with his legs out.
Oh no!
And
I
plunked right on his lap, just plunk, just sat right on his lap, and he just sat there. And I looked at him and I said, "Well, hello there."
Hello.
And he's like, "Hi," and I'm like, sorry, and I just got up, and here I was sitting on his lap, like Santa Claus,
I do have a saying: if you, as a parent, believe about 10% of what you hear at school about us, we'll believe about 10% about what they say about you at home. It's just, we could have gotten fired a million times, and it was so innocent.
My teacher sat in my lap.
But you were using multimedia. You man. We were trying to just get this lesson.
One time I got a call when Mackenzie was little. She was in preschool. And I got a call from the preschool teacher. She goes, I'm a little concerned of what Mackenzie said today. And I'm like, what?
Don't believe it.
Okay, so we only had one bathroom. This is when I was married. And my ex-husband was standing kind of in the way, and I needed to plug in my hairdryer. And she was kind of sitting on the floor playing stuff. And I said, I need to plug this in. He goes, this a minute. And I said, well, I'll just plug it here. And I just poked him in the butt. Just poked him, like on his butt cheek. And anyway, I said, well, what did she say? And she said, she had told her teacher, she said, my mommy put a plug up my daddy's butt. And so I'm like, I never said that.
Don't believe you do. By the way, we are not changing your daughter's name. I feel kind of bad. Kenzie. Sorry.
No, my daughter's name is
Elizabeth. Don't believe what you hear. Oh my gosh. Well, how about one of the problems that I have is like you just kind of want there to not be interruptions, and kids love interruptions, and so like there'd be fire drills and tornado drills. God.
Whenever you can get out of the seat.
But I tell you the truth. I had this awesome lesson. We were going outside. We had this trail outside, and it was good. Lisa, it was good lesson. And well, I see the principal walking, like,
release the monkeys.
Well, I was like so pleased that I was going to be able to share and show off my lesson. And what I did not see coming at all was he had an angry face. Apparently there was a tornado watch, and I disregard tornado watches. You do, right? But in school, if there was a tornado watch, we weren't even allowed to let the kids go to the bathroom. Go in the sink.
That's not true.
That's not true. Don't believe me. No. Okay, wait. But I was ready to just say it. Well, now what we're doing over here, again, I do that voice. Over here, we're doing rubbings and learning about the different flora and fauna of the blah, 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 blah. And I just get inside. And I'm like, what? What did I do? So yeah, I am doing this right. But yeah, tornado watches, you have to stay inside.
We were having a graduation ceremony at the end of the year, and the kids know what to do. Like, we practice fire drill. They're like,
that's the beauty of fifth grade.
Oh yeah,
but
I think any grade. I think we practice it so much. So we're having like a fifth grade graduation ceremony in the gym, and it was a real tornado. Like the sirens went off and stuff, and all of a sudden, boop! All the kids get up. They just start marching. They went to their spot, got down, and then we kind of forgot about all the parents, and
they can go.
And I guess we just kind of went, oh, go, and we just went in, and everybody's sitting in their crouch position and trying to cover their little.
They got little butt cracks.
And anyway, I guess the parents were all like, well, where do we go? What do we do?
Go in the teacher bathroom.
We just kind of left them on. One time, my first job, there was a tornado warning, and they actually said there's a tornado spotted. It's heading that way, kind of thing like this. And I was a new teacher, and the principal initially said, "Everybody, get on the bus. You got to get them out of here." And they were like, "What? You can't put them on the bus. Get them out!" So we had like kids running on the bus. I mean, trying to get the kids off the bus, and it was just crazy. And he pointed to me, so he was a little frazzled. He pointed to me. He goes, "You get out there and watch for the tornado." And I'm like, seriously?
You're expendable.
It was this big field, and I'm like, seriously? Like, I don't know, So here I am. I walk out the building, new teacher, and I'm standing there, literally next to the firemen, the spotters, and I'm standing like, "Hi," like, "Hi."
Just looking for a tornado.
Just looking for a theater. Just doing my job.
This is not in my job description. Those of you who didn't listen to podcast 1, you got to go back and you got to listen to the 3 Chesters.
And I'm sorry, I cut her off.
I took a chill pill.
I panicked on the time.
I'm fine. I don't care. It got a little long.
I miscounted your Chesters.
It's true. Okay, well, the point is this. I did not have any Chesters. The one Chester had gone home to Davey's house, apparently, and didn't come back. And he kept saying, it's in the school, it's in my car, whatever. And I felt bad because little Gabby was like, I bought that Chester. So I went, this is the new part of the story now. Okay. I went and bought a third Chester. It looked identical to Chester 2, right? Yeah. Identical to Chester 2. And then I put it in the cage and I said, well, Chester 2 got one of those little handkerchiefs and a little stick, and it was on a little trip, like a hobo. Can I say hobo?
I don't know. Should I Google that?
Google it. Google hobo. Okay,
Can you say hobo?
I don't know. Can you say hobo? So I said, he's just off on adventure. He's gone, but he's not dead. He's somewhere. And I knew it was dead. I mean, he had to be dead. So about 2 weeks later, in comes Davy with Chester number 2. Okay, I had Chester number 3 in a cage. He had found Chester number 2 living in his mudroom. Oh. And he said, and I know he didn't have a southern accent, but I swear to God, he said to me, Chester number 2's been living off some boot water and bird seed. I'm like, what? I said, what do you mean boot water?
Boot water.
Well, in Wisconsin, there's snow in the winter, and the snow had been melting off of the boot. So I just wanted to make sure we had closure, and on our Facebook page, you can see the 2 Chesters. So they're right there.
One died.
One died for real.
And 2, then at the end of the year, you had 2 Chesters.
2, yeah. So number 2, I went and bought to replace 1. Wait. Is that right? Yes. No.
3. You bought 3. No. You bought 3.
Right. I bought 3. 2 went home with Davy and never came back. But then he did travel around the world. He brought little pictures.
And he survived on boot water.
He had a Google Drive folder of all his photos. Where he had been.
Did you really? You Googled different places?
Oh no.
Kind of like Flat Stanley.
Yeah. No. Okay. See, I don't even know the story because I can't even keep it straight. All I know is somewhere out there, it's a really nice cage. That's the story of the three Chesters.
Well, that was worth waiting for.
Now, to be fair,
I'm sorry, I was expecting okay.
I thought it was good. Okay, to be fair, Lisa and I we've shared all these stories many, many times. Come on, surprise me. You have one to end this with that I've never heard. Come on.
Oh, this is a bad one. So, kids like to bring things in to share.
Oh, yeah.
We went to specials right away, like we call it Music Art by Ed. Kids left right away, and they went, and I took them down to specials, and I come back to the room, and I'm like, what the heck is on my desk? And I looked, and it was a pot pipe.
How would you know what that is?
Because you can smell. I mean, you know the smell. And I picked it up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a pot pipe. So I don't.
I said a pot pie. I'm like, ooh, I love pot pie. No, pot pipe. Okay, continue.
Mary Jane. So I'm like, what do I do? And I'm like, I panic. So I shoved it in my pocket. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I shove it in my pocket?
The dogs, they'll sniff it.
No, the pocket's going to smell like it. So I didn't know what to do. So I'm like, I got to fess up. So I walked out of the principal, and I walked in, I'm like, I got something in my pocket. I pulled it out. And he's like, I don't want it. He's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, what do we do? And so there's a whole day of detective work.
That does remind me.
Who brought the pipe?
Well, the one time I had a party, and I bought Diet Pepsi, and I had bought like Ham's beer or some like cheap beer. And I had brought a Diet Pepsi in my lunch. I don't usually drink soda. And I popped. Oh, that's good
Now
stuff.
You have to drink that beer. Okay. You're not wasting. I don't care if it's 8 in the morning.
That's true. That's true. But here's the deal. When I popped it open, I didn't realize that it was a Pabst. They do look very similar. So I'm in my classroom.
I wonder how many teachers have actually in their lunches packed.
Please post that.
Yeah. I actually put in a beer. Yeah, in mistake.
And you freak out because you really see your whole career flash before your eyes.
Okay, Sue, it's your turn to surprise me with the story.
Okay. Teachers have to have duty, and it sounds like duty.
I know.
And
I have duty
all the time. And it's not fun because it takes you back to being a kid yourself. You have to wipe the tables, and you have to dismiss kids. And there was this really rowdy group of fellas, and they were all sitting around the table, and they were getting super loud, and they were on the verge of throwing food. You just could tell. And this was the ringleader. That's his name. His name was Ringleader. And I'm like, okay, Ringleader. And I know they were quite well off, and they went out to dinner all the time. And I just said to him, and trying to get him to think, critical thinking. And I said, Ringleader, if you were in a restaurant right now, what would people think? What would your parents think? And he looked me square in the eyes, and he said, well, if we were in a restaurant, we'd have our appetizers by now. That was so funny. I didn't even write them up.
Oh, my God. Hey, Sue, not to be the clock watcher, but our time's almost up.
Hey, it's been really fun.
It's really fun. These stories are fun, and we've got a lot more coming in our next episodes.
Yeah, and I think next time we will be having our theme be Stupid Rules.
Stupid Rules would be fun.
And we're going to have friends.
Lots of friends. We got a group of people coming over to do our podcast with us. So
let's cheers to you, baby.
Cheers. Oh, wait, you can't cheers an empty
can. Let's switch to wine.
Good job finishing that, by the way.
Cheers. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for listening to our podcast. We didn't know what we didn't know. We'll see you next time.